Welcome to Closet Cosplay, the podcast where we create con-worthy cosplays on a closet budget. I'm LJ.
And I'm Michelle, and today we're going to do a little bit of a different episode because of the situation we are both in.
And really, the situation that pretty much everybody on Earth is dealing with in one form or fashion, which is the COVID-19 outbreak that's happening on a global pandemic scale, which unfortunately has had an effect on our not only our personal lives, but our podcast lives as well. As I'm sure many of you realized from our last episode that we had to unfortunately cancel the appearance at Mid South Con because the entirety of Mid South Con was canceled itself due to this.
Yes, and it was so sad. We were so looking forward to hanging out with everybody and showing off our cosplays that we've prepared and talked about. However, we will get into those cosplays eventually. Obviously, life is a little complicated right now, and we'll post pictures for you guys. But even now, we're recording from two separate locations where we typically would be in the same room together. So if this sounds a little different to you, that's why.
Yeah, it's we're doing the appropriate and responsible thing of doing self-isolation, not trying to travel unnecessarily or anything like that. And that's to prevent not only ourselves but everybody else out there, because it's not just about you. Even though we're not in the demographic where we have to worry too much about fatal sort of or critical kinds of effects, we could potentially be carriers, and we would hate for anyone to suffer because of our carelessness.
Absolutely. And I guess along the lines of this outbreak and quarantine and all the stuff going on around us, we kind of just wanted to um, discuss and talk about how quarantine has been for us, how we found different ways to bring cosplay or creativity into this time of quarantine, and just maybe share some stuff with you if you're bored at home or stuck at home and are not able to get out, maybe some challenges we could give you or some things you could find to spark a little creativity.
Yeah, and the cosplay community has been really on top of what's going on and trying to still foster that sort of community and just general good spirit and energy that's kind of out there. Um, One of the ways that I've been seeing a lot of people handle this being stuck in their homes is they're literally doing closet cosplay. You can't go out to the wig store, you can't go out costume shopping, you can't go to thrift stores, you can't do anything like that. So that's kind of leaving you in your actual closet, which is great because when you have some sort of restraint, sometimes it really makes you be creative. It forces you to figure out other ways around stuff. And there are several communities that have popped up um, that are doing challenges. So you would do, I think, Michelle, you said you're doing one that's like a goddess that's coming up.
Yeah, I think today is the last day to post actually, so I'm really gonna have to get this together today. But I think the first challenge they had was an 80s look, which I missed out on. Because I
Yeah.
don't know, part of my being stuck at home and seeing amazing cosplayers online is that I get into my head a lot and I feel like, oh, I can't do a look as good as them, or I know way less about the 80s era than these people do, so I'm not going to embarrass myself, which, I just need to get over. But I am going to try to get Celine posted today. That's who I'm going to try to cosplay in the group. And I have an idea, but like you said, not being able to go out and buy anything is forcing me to kind of rethink some items of my closet, which is it's neat because you wouldn't always look at your closet and think, oh, I could pull that look off. But when you have no option to go out and get a specific piece, you think, oh, well, I can creatively use this piece to maybe look like that instead. So I might not have a white flowing dress, but I think what I'm going to try to do is put a white kind of tank top with a flowy skirt I have that's kind of floral. And I think that might get the flowiness of her look across.
That'll be pretty.
And then I have a reference picture from the game Santorini. I don't know if anybody else is as crazy about board games as I am. But Santorini is a game that's kind of based on gods and goddesses, and they're kind of they're building Santorini, Greece. So I have a card, and I'm kind of basing it off that card look. And she has blue hair in that, but I have a purple wig. So I'm like, close enough.
And it will be close enough. Again, it's closet cosplay, which is
Right.
very much you work with what you got, and you'd be surprised what people come up with. But just like in real cosplay, you should try not to compare yourself to what other people are doing. If you
Right.
like it and you're enjoying it and you're having fun, that'll come across, and people will absolutely, you're not ever going to get ignored in the cosplay community. From what my experience is and seeing other people, it's a very friendly community, especially in times like this. So it's like, you know, if you are afraid of stacking up against other people, don't compare yourself to that. The only thing you should ever be really comparing yourself to is, should I be doing better than I did last time? You are your only metric for that sort of thing. Like for me, I'm always trying to improve just a little bit at a time. And this is a perfect opportunity to take time to improve on those things that you want to improve on. There's a lot of people stuck at home right now, beyond just, even if you're not going to do a cosplay to post online or anything like that, work on something involving your cosplay that you've been meaning to set the time into. Maybe it's learning how to style a wig. Maybe it's learning how to sew, because God knows I need to actually unpack the sewing machine that I bought 3 months ago.
Yeah, I've had a sewing machine myself for a while that I keep dreaming about. I'm like, oh, I'm going to figure out how to sew one day. And I think maybe this is the kick I needed to go ahead and figure it out, maybe. And another thing I've been playing around with is just like different makeup looks and how to, and I am no expert at makeup. I do very simple makeup, but it's been fun to just play around with and, see what different things I could do and how it all works. And, nobody's seeing me. So it's like, even if it's
Right.
bad, it's fine.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, don't feel pressured to show these things off that you're working on yourself. Like, I know that I get that way too, where I'm just like, because I want to do things so perfectly, and it gets me to where like I don't even want to attempt it, because if I'm gonna have to show it to people and it's not up to my own standards, I don't even want to start it. And so like you can take this opportunity not to show anybody your stuff. Like
Right.
this is the prime time to do it. You want to try a crazy haircut, even? You want to try some makeup, like you said? You want to just see how you feel about walking around in certain kinds of clothing or outfit? Like, this is a really great opportunity for that. Like, and literally nobody can see you. So
No
it really
pressure.
works out.
One of the cool things too about having that kind of creativity of, oh, I don't have to post this if I don't want to, or I don't have to go out in this if I don't want to. It's just, seeing what you can come up with. And, I think it's looking at your closet in a new light because
Mhm.
I've had time to think. I mean, I may not get to go to a Ren fair this year, but I keep thinking, oh, I can use that for this look, or I can create a pirate look with pants I already own instead of, I have an Amazon cart full of stuff I was planning on doing for a pirate look, and I'm now looking at my closet differently, and I'm thinking I could probably pull that look off with stuff I already own.
Yeah, and you'll be surprised. There's several costumes I've put together that people will be like, "Where did you buy this?" And I'm just like, "It's just a random thing I pulled out of my closet." And you just do something a little bit different with it, and you'll be
Right,
surprised.
right. I've
Um,
seen people use like scarves are so versatile.
oh my gosh, they
You
are.
really think about it? Because I saw, in this Facebook group where, they were doing the challenges, and I've seen so many creative uses of scarves as, like, um, belts or just a cute kind of accessory. I think there's even a way you could tie a scarf into, like, a bag. There's ways you could put a scarf on as a top, as a skirt, like, all these
Oh yeah, they have
creative.
those like infinite scarf things that
Yes,
you go online and watch YouTube videos of what people do with their scarves. It's just pieces of fabric in
what
like
amazes
seconds.
me. Yeah, it amazes me. Or if you just have fabric laying around, how you could drape it or tie it or,
Yep.
you know.
Just a giant piece of fabric is one of the most like versatile pieces of cosplay outfits you will ever have, because it can be a cloak, it can be a skirt, it can be a cape, it can be like you
Yeah,
want it to be. It could be a
that's so
veil.
true.
I have this piece of like semi-sheer black with like a very faint glitter on it, and I have used that for vampire outfits. I have used that for masquerades. It's just a piece of cloth I went and bought at a like a Joann's Fabric or something, but it has been
Yeah.
repurposed so many times. So if you got some cloth hanging around, get creative.
I look at it in a new light. I also, what's brought to mind is that piece of floral kind of sheer fabric you had that you used for your fairy
Mhm.
costume. You remember that one?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
really
I love
liked
that
how
piece
you
of
did
cloth.
that. You like tucked that somewhere under the wings, right? And it looked
Yeah.
so good and it completed your outfit to me.
Yeah, I made it like a little capelet is what I did with it, which is so funny because like and I think maybe I've mentioned this on this podcast before. That piece of fabric, which is just basically it's a piece of tulle with some like flowery embroidery on it. It's actually very pretty, but you can order those, or at the time you could order, that piece of fabric. It was like a meter and a half long, for like $16 for two or something like that. What's so funny is if you go on Etsy and you look up, and the reason I know this is because I was supposed to be getting married on May 16th, which we'll talk about here in a second. Speaking of events that had to get pushed back, but I was going to look at wedding veils, and they have that same piece of fabric. It's the same piece of fabric, nothing done to it. They have that listed as a wedding veil on a lot of these Etsy shops, going for like 70, $100. Like,
Just goes to show, if it's wedding anything, the price will skyrocket.
yeah, it does not matter what it is. And like, always look at that. If something looks like it's just a piece of fabric, you might be able to just find that somewhere at a fabric store or on Amazon like I did, and it's fractions of what you spent for what they're trying to sell it as, because it's just a piece of fabric at the end of the day, you
Yeah.
know? So,
I was actually just looking at the Facebook group and they have their new theme posted. And
oh, what is it?
I wanted to tell you and see if we could maybe come up with some ideas of what I could do or
Okay.
what people could do.
What is it?
So it's kind of interesting because it ties in with our cyberpunk episode a little bit, I feel like. But it
Oh, okay.
is sci-fi dash futuristic tarot. And so the examples they said,
Oh,
think of cyberpunk Queen of Wands or a Star Trek Page of Cups or a replicant devil.
that's interesting. That's an interesting mix of themes.
It is. Now, I don't know a lot about tarot, so
I
help
you know, I
me
don't
out.
I don't either. So here's the thing, like tarot is very particular. Like people who know about tarot, and
Yeah.
like it's very complicated and simple all at the same time. But certain things have meanings, and you can't really represent it without taking away from it, which I'm sure they're not going to be that strict on it. So this is one of those things of like, I don't think you'll be offending anybody if you don't get it quite right. But
Mhm.
a lot of these people, there's certain understandings about what each tarot card represents, and there's a lot of misunderstandings about what each tarot card represents. And I'm sure I'll have far more educated people maybe correct me a little bit on this, but as far as I have been told and read, something like, the death card, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It could be the end of a bad thing that's happening in your life, or it could
Yeah.
be, so it's almost like a new beginnings. It's not necessarily a bad card. And I think that would be interesting, is to try to find maybe one of those cards that does have a misunderstanding about what it could be and represent it in the way that it's actually meant to be. Like that could be a cool idea.
Yeah, I was
But
just trying to think. I mean, obviously, I think this group is just for fun, so they're not gonna kick you out
right.
something completely off cuff. But sci-fi futuristic tarot, um, I don't
I
even
actually
know.
have two sets of tarot cards,
Do
but
you
I
really?
don't
See, I
they're
don't
for
even
art
have a set.
purposes.
Yeah, I don't even have a set. I'd have to, like, look it up, I guess. But I'm just trying to think if I have anything I could think of off the top of my head that would read sci-fi or futuristic. I wish at this
uh
point I had some of those, those neon goggle things, those neon light up
oh, I
glasses,
know.
because I think
Yeah,
if you
I
walk
don't even
around using
have
it, it'd be cool.
see, that's my only real failing in any of my cosplay stuff. I don't have anything that's really futuristic. A lot of my LARPing
Yeah.
cosplay has been modern or old,
Yeah,
or,
that's what a lot
antiquity.
of mine is. It's like Renaissance type stuff, or it's like capes and hoods and fantasy stuff, or it's modern. And
Right.
so me trying to find a sci-fi futuristic look in my closet's gonna be really stretching it, I feel like.
I feel yeah, I'm trying to sit here and think, how could you 'cause so this is an actual closet cosplay challenge because this is something neither of us actually have,
Yeah.
which is futuristic sort of thing. So, uh, oh my gosh, you could use like I worked IT for a long time and I'm a software developer now, but
Mhm.
that also means I build all my own computers and things like that. And I have a lot of old wires and
Oh,
computer parts and things.
like if you
So
took a
technically
motherboard or some kinda, like, board from a thing and stuck it
or you could take,
on
like,
some
the
kind of way.
wires and, like, do
Yeah.
'em in your hair or something.
Ah,
Oh,
that
that would be
sounds
kinda
cool.
cool.
That does sound really cool.
And then you
Okay.
could also think of, like, alternate meanings. So, like, I'd have to look at some more examples, but, well, there's crowns and cups and swords and the hanging man and the wheel, and, like, if you can look at some sort of, like, maybe the wheel I'd have to hang I wish I could get my card set. They're all the way over there, and I don't wanna interrupt the recording to go get it.
Yeah.
But, I could, like, look at them and be like, 'cause there's ways you can find or to represent maybe themes
Mhm.
with technical sort of, stand-ins. But I think the wire I have so many things that are just wires, and I have these really cool, like they're like 12-foot long cables, and they're these really brilliant red color, and, like, those
Oh, that'd
I've
be
got, like,
neat.
several of those, and, like, that would be really cool to do something with. I like a lot of that's and we even kinda you're right, we kinda discussed this in our cyberpunk stuff where it's like, I'm immediately already thinking, "I want bright colors."
Yeah, the
I
neons
want it
and
to be
stuff.
colorful.
Right. I, I was thinking I think that's such a cool idea because it's like I just don't think I would think of grabbing all the old cables and wires we have because I know we've got, like, everyone I
Yeah.
feel like has that box of old cables that you don't know where they belong, but
Yeah.
you're not getting rid of them, and so I think that could be really cool.
Oh, you
Very
the
neat concept.
Empress.
Do what?
The Hermit. Oh, I was like I looked up on my phone some different cards,
Oh,
so I'm,
yeah.
like, looking at, like, the Hermit, the Empress. Like, the Hermit you could do pretty easily, I think, like, it would be, like, some hacker that's, like, down in his basement, right, that's been there forever, and so he's just, like, hoodied up and,
Oh, yeah.
you
Like, dark
know
glasses on and just kinda
Yeah,
sitting in
like
space
he's been
person.
yeah,
I,
but
I am so
uh-huh.
visual when it comes to cosplay, like, I found this card for Celine from Santorini because I just need some kind of visual spark to go off of, some reference. I'm a big reference photo for cosplay, I just really like that. It's hard for me to come up with an idea out of nowhere, which is kind of the hard part of this cosplay, challenge as well, is that I'm seeing all these other amazing people post and I think, "Oh, I can't do that or I can't come up with a creative idea like that because I am so visual." So I think for me, I'm probably gonna try to find like art of tarot decks or something that I could gain some inspiration from and then build it off of that.
Yeah, I legitimately just, like, Googled just now, just cyberpunk tarot,
Right.
and it absolutely exists.
That's what I'm gonna have
Of
to
course,
do.
because of course it does.
Yeah, because that's just the way I
But yeah,
think.
I have 2 sets of tarot cards. One of them is the original, like the very standard ones because it's just traditional, and then I have another one that is done where it's all, like, art nouveau with, like, gilded gold filigree on it. It's gorgeous,
Now let's see
but
if
does
I'm
not
into this.
fit.
Is Art Nouveau the elf or the dwarf?
That's the elf one, like,
Ha!
it's the
Okay.
elf one.
The elf one.
Yeah.
Alright. So the
So I
swirlies
have
and the
that.
hoodies and stuff.
So I'm like, "Dang, if they'd had that, I'd had that on lock."
Yeah.
I've got all that stuff. But the cyberpunk will be really cool. I
I think it'll be
the
neat to
sci-fi, I
see.
think that'll be a neat challenge because that's not necessarily something that really either of us do
Yeah.
on any sort of
I'm
regular
gonna
basis.
try it.
I want lights of some kind. That's where my mind always goes to, and I just don't have anything
Maybe
that's
I'll just get some Christmas lights and wrap them around my body.
Oh, there you go. See, we don't even own Christmas lights. You
Yeah.
could do Christmas
Yeah,
lights.
I know I've got, like, a LED Christmas light thing hanging around somewhere that I might could rig up some kinda way.
Yeah, that'll be a cool one to see. I'm excited. And there's a lot of groups out there that are doing this. So this one that we're in, I'm not. I think it's just by the some of the LARP groups that we're doing. But Instagram always has their challenges that are
Yeah.
just public, and you just post on those, and Facebook, and One of the other things that I just wanted to mention real quick, just because I heard about it probably a week ago, they started doing this kind of thing. But if you are looking for a quote reason to do it other than just a challenge in a post, is a lot of people are doing cosplays, dressing up as superheroes or Disney princesses or things, and they're reading storybooks online to children and recording it and posting it like on YouTube and stuff for kids that are stuck in quarantine right now, which I thought was a super cute idea. Like,
I love
I would be way
that.
more about doing like that. I'm not like, I do not want my own children or anything like that, but I love cosplaying around kids. They are so excited
I get
and like
so
they
into it. It's
they're
adorable.
so into it. I was a fairy. The last thing I did was at that it was a princess tea party, and one of my friends was a mermaid there, and she asked me to come along so I wore my Renaissance fairy outfit, and these kids wanted to know, was I real? Where did I come from? And I got to
Oh,
like make up all this stuff. My LARP training just kicked in,
there
and
you
I was
go.
just like,
Use
and it
that
was
improv.
yeah, you said it properly. It was so much fun. So I love doing stuff like that around kids because they're always going to be into it and they're super hype and they want your attention.
Yeah, and can you
But
imagine, like, reading Beauty and the Beast as Belle? Like, how
yeah,
magical. I love
that
it.
would be so cool. Like, I love stuff like that. So if you want a reason and you kind of want to like get involved with the community in a different way than just posting a challenge for internet points, like go that direction. Read a story. I love stuff like that.
Uh, and didn't you mention as well TikTok? I don't have
Oh yeah.
TikTok, but
I do not do TikTok. I don't have TikTok just because I'm a little bit weird about my privacy settings on my phone. But it's very popular for cosplayers right now. Like I'm
oh,
seeing a lot of videos come out of TikTok where they're some really cool editing and like speeding up or slowing down the camera and like it's really pretty cool. And I wish I knew more to tell you about TikTok other than it is basic. If you're not familiar with it, it is very similar to Vine from back in the day, which was like a 6-second video clip, right? Now these can be longer than 6 seconds, and they're usually accompanied by some sort of music. Typically, they don't always have to be, but they usually are, and they're just very short little videos. And they have it's a big thing with cosplay. I see it popping up more and more on Facebook of people who I've known who do cosplay. They're like, I finally got a TikTok. And hey, this may be the perfect time for you to get into that because you're
hey,
stuck at home. You can't go out and do it. So stay at home and do it.
work on your
There's
mini video editing skills, right? It's like a
yeah,
mini
exactly.
video, so maybe you wouldn't have to edit a 30-minute long video, but
It is shocking how much good editing, like objectively good editing I have seen done with TikTok. I
yeah.
saw somebody the other day do like a fake reality TV show and like the zoom ins and the voiceovers and like the confessional, like everything of that was done on TikTok and it was so funny and so well done. So like make yourself a little mini movie if you really want to. There's ways to keep active and keep involved in this time where we're all having to be alone together. There's
Yeah.
ways to do it.
I think it's like just try to find small ways to connect yourself. Us recording this podcast, I feel, a little less isolated, being able to talk
Yeah.
to somebody else. So, like phone calls, video chats. Today, it's a beautiful day outside. I'm going to go try to ride my bike just even around my driveway, somewhere to be out in the sunshine, to get out of the house a little bit.
Yeah, 'cause it's difficult. The first day of spring was like a week or 2 ago, right? And
Yeah.
so which I'm probably wrong on that, but it's starting to get really nice out and people wanna go out, and I totally get it, and especially because now you'll start to get those nice photo shoot opportunities, and like, you're not under house arrest. Wherever you are right now, even under the most strict quarantine, self shelter in place, it does not mean that you cannot at least walk out in your front yard,
Or on the
you know?
patio and just feel the
Right.
sun on your face,
'Cause it's
something.
important. Get you some
Yeah,
vitamin D, get you a little fresh air.
yeah,
I am having to work from home right now, and I have my windows in my office open, so I can at least,
yeah,
feel the wind and some sun, and it's nice. So if you're feeling a little bit down, which is totally, totally understandable because, things are getting canceled, we're feeling isolated.
right.
I mean,
Travel
feel that
plans are out the window. Oh, yeah, you were gonna talk about your wedding as
Oh, yeah.
well.
Yeah, my wedding was May 16th, and due to the COVID-19 outbreak, I have a lot of vendors that are either uncertain that they can meet things or having to outright cancel. So I have had to make a difficult decision to push my wedding back a whole year because everybody is trying to push theirs back, and which just causes more of it. So there's basically no
Mhm.
dates between, now and a reasonable amount of time. So I've just decided to push it back a year. So been dealing with that stress on top of everything else, and now I have to deal with another year of people asking me questions about the wedding,
Yeah.
the true punishment. But
Oh, girl.
it'll be fine. We're still probably gonna do a little courthouse ditty and then have the big ceremony next year. So
It'd be
that's
amazing.
my big cosplay. That's my biggest cosplay of all time is my wedding.
There you go.
Really is. And so, and I've already been planning my courthouse outfit, which I think it almost could pass as a cosplay. So the dress that I got, seriously, the dress that I'm getting is by this designer. I think her name's like Penelope something, but she made a dress called the Virgin, which is this really beautiful, like simple white dress, and I'll show it to you, Michelle.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm thinking of like getting this very small little bridal, like 2-inch, one of those little halo Madonna crowns, and like having the veil draped over that. So it's almost like virginal, kind of very traditional, but it's meant to just be simple and like go to the courthouse. But I think it's going to be really pretty, as simple as it
yeah,
is.
it sounds super pretty, and I love, like, that minimalistic kind of style as well. I think it's so
Yeah.
gorgeous.
So I think that's going to be my little courthouse outfit. And that way I still feel pretty because I'm not going to let this whole thing spoil my mood on it.
Yeah, and there are so many brides that are having to do that now that I just feel for. I know, like, how exciting that time is, and to have that disappointment, it's like, if you can find a little glimmer of, you know, getting a cute courthouse outfit, I think you absolutely should take that opportunity to give yourself a little shine in the darkness.
Yeah. So, you guys, it's we'll get through this. One way or another,
Yeah.
there is light at the end of the tunnel, and there's light all along. It just may be a little bit darker in here right now, but you can find that in Instagram. You can find it in Facebook. You can find it just connecting with people. Just
Yeah.
it's gonna be good, and
Yeah.
we're gonna have fun, and we're gonna have more cosplays, and we are gonna be playing this by ear just a little bit,
Yeah.
because we just don't know week to week really what's going to be happening, if they're going to do any sort of travel restrictions or anything like that interstate. I don't foresee that necessarily happening, but just in case, we are going to be probably recording like this at least once more, I would
Right.
imagine.
Right.
But we'll definitely let you know, and we'll definitely take the time and post what we can, and hopefully we'll actually have some. I think we're going to try to at least get some cosplays out at some point,
Yeah.
even if
Yeah.
we're in the house.
We're trying.
We're trying.
We're
I'm
working
sure
on
we
it.
all are.
It's like we're having
Always.
to kind of reevaluate our schedules and our time and all that stuff right now. So that's all been kind of crazy. I'm sure it has been for everybody, but maybe once we get in the routine of things, we can post some older cosplays, some newer cosplays, just get some more pictures out for you guys to enjoy. And maybe if you have any that you've done and if you share them with us and are comfortable with us posting them, we can show off some of the cosplays you've been doing. Maybe if you've been doing this quarantine costume challenge or anything like that. So
Yeah, I would love to see him. I've been loving seeing everybody's stuff, so that would definitely be cool.
yeah, absolutely. It's neat what people do when they are forced to be creative, you know?
Yeah.
I love
What
it.
is it? Oh no, I was gonna say necessity is the mother of invention, but that's not really what it is here. It's not necessarily necessity, but in my opinion, restrictions always make you be a little bit more creative.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's been cool.
We could all use a
I
little more
think that
creative
that
juice.
exactly. Even if it comes from weird places like this, I'll
Right,
take it.
right. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that might be it, unless you got anything else.
No, I think I'm good. I just, want to tell everybody, be safe and be smart. And we miss being around each other. We miss
Mhm.
the opportunity to be around you guys at Mid South Con, but hopefully we will find some awesome opportunities in the future to connect and stay connected and reach out and those kinds of things. So don't lose hope.
Don't
And
don't lose. Don't. I'm trying to think of a pun, but it's just not working today.
it's okay.
But seriously, guys, stay safe. Stay 6 feet apart.
Yes.
stay
And go get you some
stay
sunshine,
tuned.
people.
Yeah, get
We
some
love you
sunshine, and we'll
guys.
see you on the other end of this.
Bye, people. Bye bye.
Bye.